I call Melissa Lee.
Speaker, it's a pleasure to rise in support of the first reading of this bill, sir. But I have to say I'm appalled at that last speaker. I did not realise that people moving off benefit was such a bad thing in this country. I didn't realise that people becoming independent of government support was such a bad thing that that member opposes. Such a support from the government for people to become better and living a much independent life from government support, sir. Mr. Speaker, I did not even realise that Ms. Annette King thinks that we're closing down Housing New Zealand. Why should we be spending $3 billion in Housing New Zealand if we wanted to close it down? This is about the opposition becoming very frightened, that we're getting into the territory that they claim that it is their domain, helping the people who are poor in this country. But what did the Labour government do in the 9 years that they had the Treasury benches? I'd like to ask that question. Obviously, nothing. They were the slum landlords that had people living in cold homes that we had to warm it up. We are warming our houses up and down the country, sir, and we are very proud of that record. Mr. Speaker, this bill ensures that the housing we provide is the right size, in the right place, in the right condition for those who need it the most. Our social housing package is a key part of our promise to deliver a better public service, sir. We want to provide the right environment to grow the community housing sector. There are many community housing providers, many organisations such as churches, NGOs, charities who provide support for vulnerable people, and they do a great job. There is no reason why a family in need should receive less support just because the bricks and mortar of their house is owned by the community provider rather than the government. So we are actually saying that we're providing the same support. And we should remember that the important thing is to provide the support people require, not bicker about who owns the bricks and mortar in this instance. Sir, often community housing providers can provide better support to people in need, as they are already providing integrated support for these people in a holistic manner, whether they're providing counselling, whether they're providing support for people who are trying to come off drugs or alcohol, or maybe they're in a situation where there is a domestic violence situation, sir. They provide holistic support, and this support that the government will be providing will be even better for the job that they already do. That's why this bill provides for the income-related rent subsidies to be extended to the community housing providers. This will mean community housing providers can house more people without the worry about where they're going to find the funds. They will be funded on the same basis as Housing New Zealand. The other aspect of the bill is the assessment of people's housing needs being shifted from Housing New Zealand to the Ministry of Social Development. Currently, people are assessed by Housing New Zealand for housing support and MSD for social and income support. The shift in responsibility to MSD will mean the process will be fairer and would facilitate a more holistic view of people's needs alongside other social and income support. The shift will also mean that people's housing needs assessment will not be made independent of housing providers. It will be done by people who understand best their need for income and social support. As I said earlier, the government is making a record investment of $2.9 billion in Housing New Zealand over 3 years. That is definitely not a signal that we're giving up on Housing New Zealand, so we are supporting them to provide a better service for New Zealanders. And also, previous opposition members have actually talked about the renewable tenancies, why they disagreed with it. Many members in this House have actually come across situations where people who are living in housing New Zealand homes, where their families have grown up, they've moved on, but because they were already given the house, often very big houses to house bigger families, they refuse to move out of these homes. And there are many other families who actually need the bigger homes and they can't move out. And what we are saying is that reviewable tenancies that we make these people sign is not a case of evicting people out of their homes. The minister never said anything about evictions. This is about providing the right housing for the needs of the people, the right housing for the right need for the right people. We are not evicting people, but providing a better housing service for people in this country. Sir, this is a great bill. I commend it to the House and look forward to the submissions in the Select Committee process.
I call Dennis O'Rourke.
Mr. Speaker, the social housing reform